Okay, you know what we should? Okay, you know what? You know what I want to watch, guys? All right, let me link you guys this video, but I want to watch a video like this. Hold on. American military versus the world. You see this shit?
The U.S. military doesn't just fight
Infographics show here.
wars. It feeds on them. Every conflict makes it stronger, faster, more advanced. And that's why the world calls it its police force. But even if you think you know how powerful it is, you don't. On today's episode of the Infographics Show, we're revealing how massive the U.S. military really is. The U.S. military didn't start...
I think everybody needs to know this because I don't think people understand just like how crazy it is. Like you hear people say like, oh yeah, well, of course, America's military is very big. It's like, you don't understand like just the scale, this, like the amount, it's not even close. Basically, it's ridiculous. Like the power disparity between like the America and like the rest of the world is like insane.
As a superpower. It began as scattered militias fighting for independence, but every war since has forged it into something bigger. And when World War II erupted, that transformation went nuclear. From that point on, America wasn't just fighting wars, it was shaping the world order itself. In the second half of the 20th century, the world was still feeling the fallout from global war, and the United States stepped into the void.
I like this guy's SCP videos. They're great. It's like a different channel, but it's like very obviously the same dude.
Fueled by the economic boom of World War II, it built a military so vast that no recovering power could hope to match it. And each conflict brought the next upgrade. Weapons got smarter and deadlier, supply lines became faster, more complex, and nearly fail-proof. And from orbit, surveillance systems could track a target anywhere on Earth, from heights no conventional weapon could ever reach. The U.S. military stopped defending its own borders and started managing the planet like a network. Cables, shipping lanes, currencies, and skies all fell under its constant watch. No other force on Earth operates at the scale of the U.S. military. Its current operations include over 750 military bases, from tiny airstrips in Africa to entire cities in Asia and Europe. It's a system designed to project power anywhere on Earth within hours. The ability to appear everywhere at once before anyone else can react is what makes it both terrifying and awe-inspiring. The United States military isn't just an army, it's an institution that acts like part government and part economy. Wherever it sets up a base, infrastructure...
You want to know what America's biggest weakness is, though? And this is something that the commies already know this. They already know what our biggest weakness is. It's democracy. That's our biggest weakness.
Structure follows, roads appear, trade grows, and local diplomacy starts to move in its orbit. The reasoning for this is simple. America holds the world's largest economy and bankrolls its most advanced military network. Through a vast network of allies, many of them economic powerhouses, America doesn't just influence the world, it runs it. The U.S.
Which,
doesn't...
honestly is pretty scary because it puts us in the position where, like, if the Quangos take over, it's over. It's truly over, right? Which is why I keep saying we need to try to remove that fail condition as fast as possible.
Ask for permission to act. The rest of the world needs permission to keep up. On paper, the U.S. stands near the top of almost every category, especially against nations of similar size or wealth. But what truly keeps this machine running isn't just money or manpower, it's the supply chain. Amazon can deliver a package to your door in 2 days. The U.S. military can do the same, only instead of a box, it's a fully armed battalion of Navy SEALs.
Holy shit.
Within 48 hours, they can touch down anywhere on Earth. And that's just the standard. The immediate...
Can you imagine, dude? You imagine, like, we get to Cuba and it's like your Amazon Prime deliveries here.
response force, led by the 82nd Airborne Division, can deploy anywhere in the world in just under 18 hours. For deployments within the contiguous United States, it becomes 8 hours. This is all possible thanks to the Defense Logistics Agency, arguably the world's largest logistics operation. Every day, the agency processes over 100,000 requisitions, everything from rifle ammunition and jet fuel to the exact wrench a radar team needs in Djibouti. It holds 5 million items across 25 global distribution centers. If a Marine in Okinawa needs boots at 3 a.m., the system already knows his size, his unit, and the fastest route. The boots will arrive before his shift ends. But the military doesn't just supply its own troops, it also supplies 89 countries through foreign military sales programs. When an allied nation needs weapons,
Dude, we're like the Amazon, we're like the Amazon.com of killing, man.
systems, training, or spare parts, they don't
Holy
call Lockheed
shit.
Martin directly, they go to the Pentagon. In 2024, U.S.-approved arms deals topped $117 billion. If that total went to one nation, it would rank fourth in global defense spending, behind the U.S., China, and Russia. But first, I want to thank today's sponsor, War Thunder. Ever wanted to command a fleet of
appropriate.
tanks, jets, helicopters, and warships in full-scale multiplayer battles? Well, now you can, because War Thunder is the most comprehensive vehicle combat game out there, and it is totally free to play on PC, console, and now mobile. You'll take control of over 2,500 vehicles from across 10 nations, spanning from the biplanes and armored cars of the 19...
Dude, I cannot wait for freaking Star Fox. The 4v4 Star Fox, dude, it's gonna be so sick. I can't wait,
20s
man.
to the cutting-edge tech of today. Each one is authentically modeled and features a realistic damage system. There's no hit points here. Every shell can hit critical systems like engines, ammo, or crew. And with X-ray damage view, you'll see exactly how and where your shot landed. What makes War Thunder special is how deep the strategy goes. Whether you're jumping into fast-paced arcade battles, tactical realistic mode, or fully immersive simulator, you're in total control of how you play. And now with the mobile version, you can take that experience anywhere. Plus, there's tons of customization with camouflages, 3D decorations, and community-made content. And the best part, you don't need special gear, just a keyboard and a mouse or controller. New and returning players who haven't played in 6 months on PC or console get a massive bonus pack when they sign up using the links in the description or pinned comment. That includes multiple premium vehicles, the exclusive Eagle of Valor decorator, 100,000 Silver Lions, and 7 days of premium account. It's only available for a limited time, so grab it now and take the battlefield by storm. The scale of the U.S. production and its economy means Washington decides who gets what weapons and who doesn't. Every F-16, F-22, or F-35 sold to an ally creates a lifeline of parts, maintenance, training, and software, all running through American channels. It's like selling someone an iPhone, except this one can level a city block, and only Washington is in charge of the App Store. The U.S.
Good.
moves its war machine by sea. The Military Sealift Command runs 125 ships, most crewed by civilians, carrying tanks, helicopters, ammo, everything a fight needs, even when there's no airport nearby. 17 of these ships stay permanently equipped, floating in strategic locations. One ship can keep a Marine brigade fighting for a month. 16,000 tons of cargo, tanks, guns, fuel, food, and field hospitals. It's enough to start or finish a war on its own. And when the ships are too slow, the Civil Reserve Air Fleet kicks in. This is one of those Pentagon programs that sounds boring, and
Is
then
this the one
you
that
realize
shows
what it
like the
actually
actual like matchups? Oh yeah, it does. It does. It does. It does. All right.
does. In peacetime, airlines like Delta, United, and American fly passengers around the world, but buried in their contracts is a single clause. In a national emergency, those same jets become U.S. military transports. The Pentagon can commandeer 450 commercial aircraft within 24 hours. What would normally be vacation flights can suddenly be hauling troops and gear to the Middle East. The airlines agreed to this arrangement decades ago in exchange for lucrative military cargo contracts. It's a good deal and a quiet reminder that civilian life still runs on military terms. And then there's those 750 bases. Some of them are huge. Rammstein
Do you guys think tanks are still useful nowadays, or do you think it's almost over for tanks?
Base in Germany is essentially a small American city on European soil.
Yeah.
It has schools, shopping centers, hospitals, and even a Burger King. Over 59,000 Americans live there, including military personnel and their families. It's a little slice of suburban America dropped into Germany, except the driveways hold fighter jets instead of minivans. Rammstein serves as a logistics hub for all U.S. operations in Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. And if war ever breaks out with Russia, this would become NATO's frontline command for airstrikes. Diego Garcia is a tiny atoll in the Indian Ocean, and it houses one of the most important bases in the world. The island, which is barely 40 miles long, is a glorified gas station and ammunition depot for the entire Indo-Pacific region.
Damn.
B-52 and B-2 bombers fly out of the continental U.S. to Diego Garcia and then to the Middle East or Africa. Even submarines can refuel there, and carriers can restock. The base holds enough bombs and missiles for the U.S. to start and finish a war with a small nation. without resupply. But that power came at a cost. Roughly 2,000 people were forced from their homes so the US and the UK could build it. But bases like these are just the hardware. The real power lies in the network that connects them. The US military even runs its own internet, SIPRnet, short for Secure Internet Protocol Router Network. It covers the entire planet, linking bases, ships, and embassies in a closed digital web. Separate from the public internet, it transmits classified intelligence, satellite imagery, and operational directives around the world at all hours. A commander in Tampa can watch a live video feed from a drone over Yemen and receive updates from special
That's why they say, like, cut the supply lines, right?
Operations teams in the Philippines, all at the same time. The whole network operates in real time, constantly updating and synchronizing. And above all of this are the eyes in the sky. Satellites provide all that information at a glance. The US operates at least 200 military satellites, though the exact number is classified. The true number is likely higher than the rest of the world's satellites combined. And they are not just cameras in orbit. Some handle secure communications. Others track missile launches through infrared sensors. Even the GPS satellites that guide your phone and help you find a coffee shop are part of the same system that are part of the US military network. Meanwhile, the capabilities of these satellites have gotten scary. During the Cold War, spy satellites carried film that had to be dropped back to Earth for recovery. Now they can spot a license plate from orbit or track a single truck across a country. DARPA even suggested back in 2011.
It's crazy because like we were getting live streams from space. Right? We get actual live streams from space now.
That future satellites might be broadcasting real-time video straight to commanders. Satellites also form the first layer of nuclear weapon deployment detection, allowing the U.S. unprecedented response times for mutually assured destruction or MAD policies. The Vela satellites launched in the 1960s can spot the unique signature of a nuclear detonation from thousands of miles away. They can automatically tell the difference between a nuclear blast and a conventional explosion. They are so sensitive, they once detected gamma-ray bursts from distant galaxies. The military built a system to watch for World War III and ended up advancing astrophysics.
Nice.
Over time, the Vela satellites were gradually replaced by a 4-satellite infrared grid, which can detect a missile launch the moment it ignites. Now let's talk about the naval fleet, because this is where things get genuinely insane. The U.S. Navy operates 11 large aircraft carriers, and it might not sound like much until you realize that the rest of the world, combined, operates just 14 carriers. China has 3, India and Japan each have 2, and Russia's is inactive. The rest are operated by Spain, Italy, France, and Britain, all NATO allies ready to assist the U.S. if needed. And none of them come close to matching an American carrier. The older Nimitz-class carrier displaces 100,000 tons, far more than the 80,000 tons that China's newest carrier Fujian moves. It is more than any other model in the world. Each one carries around 90,000 aircraft, more than many nations' entire air forces, and crews over 5,000 people. The newer Gerald R. Ford class pushes things even further, tripling generator output, adding an electromagnetic launch system that speeds up flight operations by 25%, and using advanced arresting gear that cuts maintenance and manpower. Each carrier has its own desalination plant, power plant, hospital, post office, and even jail. And they're not just warships, they are floating cities capable of sailing for decades without ever stopping to refuel. Accompanying each carrier is a strike group composed of guided missile cruisers, destroyers, submarines, and supply ships. The battle group can project more firepower than most nations possess. When a carrier strike group parks off a nation's coast, it can project force for years, launching strikes, enforcing blockades, and shaping governments without ever setting foot on land. And that's why carriers are the ultimate diplomatic weapon, and every time one moves, the world pays attention. But the submarines are even more terrifying. The U.S. operates 68 submarines, including 14 Ohio-class ballistic missile subs, which carry 20 Trident II missiles. Each missile carries up to 8 nuclear warheads, with the destructive capacity to eliminate most major cities in any country on the Earth. 3 of the Ohio class were retrofitted to standoff assault submarines, carrying up to 154 Tomahawk missiles that can blow up small ships or damage carriers and military bases. And these submarines are practically undetectable when submerged. They patrol the ocean silently and constantly, carrying enough nuclear firepower to end civilization. In late September 2025, one of the submarines surfaced roughly 500 miles from China's aircraft carrier group, right in the middle of its naval exercises. China never noticed. The message was clear: submarines are the ultimate
Wait,
stealth
hold
weapon.
on.
And when it
Hold on, do we do that just to flex on them? Or are we like, by the way?
comes to the skies, the U.S. isn't lacking either. The U.S. Air Force...
Dude, I seen one of those before. You guys ever seen one of those? Like the submarines? I've literally seen one. Like, I was out on a boat, and then I saw the submarine coming in the dock. It was crazy.
Operates roughly 5,200 aircraft, making it the largest air force in the world. The second spot is taken up by the U.S. Navy.
I was going fishing for mackerel. I got invited on to go on a boat to fish for mackerel, and then we went out, and then we were gonna bury someone at sea, basically. So we were gonna go bury someone at sea, and then go fishing, and then because the dude that died was a fisherman, so you know he wanted to be buried at sea and stuff like that. So took a boat out, and then while we were going out, we saw this big ass freaking submarine coming in. It was so cool.
2,600 aircraft. The U.S. Army and Marines are next with thousands of helicopters, and when you add it all up, the U.S. didn't just develop air superiority, it made it policy, and it applies everywhere it flies. And that air dominance isn't just about fighters. The U.S. can deploy AWACS command planes to coordinate battles from the sky, or massive C-17 cargo planes that can land on rough airstrips in war zones. And when
I miss going fishing with my mom. Just like catching mackerel in the morning. Oh, good times. I used to catch anchovies and then give my mom the anchovies so she can catch mackerel.
Bombers or fighter jets need to get deployed to the other side of the world, they just refuel in midair. And then there are the drones. While Ukraine could be argued to have revolutionized the state of drone warfare over the past 3 years, it's the U.S. that developed the concept in the first place. The U.S. operates thousands of unmanned aerial vehicles, from tiny handheld quadcopters to the massive MQ-9 Reaper. The Reaper can stay airborne for 27 hours, carry missiles and bombs, and be flown via satellite link from a control room in Nevada. Some pilots have fought hundreds of combat missions without ever leaving U.S. soil. Drones let America strike anywhere on the Earth with no risk to its own troops.
You can weaponize the gamers so easily like that, right?
Of course, all these systems wouldn't exist if the U.S. weren't able to fund them. Thankfully, the biggest economy in the world is also, unsurprisingly, the biggest spender. But the scale of the investment is off the charts. The U.S. military budget for 2025 was approximated at $850 billion. That's more than the next 10 countries.
By the way, this is publicly available stuff. Imagine the classified stuff. Dude, that's what I was saying earlier.
Combined, including China, Russia, India, the UK, and France. But even that number is misleading. It doesn't include everything. The Department of Energy manages the nuclear weapons stockpile at another $30 billion. Veterans Affairs added $400 billion in 2025. Intelligence agencies cost American taxpayers around $100 billion. When you add up every military-related expenditure across the entire federal government, the real number exceeds $1.5 trillion annually. In July 2025, President Trump announced that the Pentagon budget could surge past $1 trillion and stay near $900 billion for years to come. About a quarter of that budget goes to the people: salaries, healthcare, housing, and benefits. Roughly $170 billion buys new weapon systems. Another $140 billion funds research and development, a budget larger than the entire military spending of every country except China. The rest keeps the machine running: fuel, repairs, and maintenance across the globe. You might be wondering why the U.S. needs all of this. After all, the country hasn't faced an existential military threat since the Cold War ended. No nation can...
By the way, those people are the most fucking annoying. Like, oh, well, we need to spend this. Like, we haven't had, like, a real war in a while. Like, we're not in any threat. Like, yeah, you're fucking so stupid. Thank you for the 200, Mr. Medic. We'd recommend you look at Pentagon CTOs demonstrates Palantir's Maven system. Maven system.
Good morning. I want to take you back to the year 2016, because that's really where the story of Project Maven began. Even before the project stood up formally as the Algorithmic Warfare Cross-Functional
This is why foreigners hate Americans is pure jealousy? Probably.
What does the third offset look like?
Just be our friend. Just be our friend and be chill. No need to hate. Like, we could own together. You know what I mean?
If anybody knows about the offset strategies of the late 20th century, the first offset, or basically it was the function of how do we overcome differences in mass and scale that our adversaries have.
You want to know what I always heard from European people, like back in the day, like not so much anymore since like Trump, but like before. You always heard from people, and like again, I know I'm not talking about you guys in chat if you're European because you're not like this, but I heard a lot of like, America spends so much on the military, but look, their healthcare, we have government healthcare, and we have government healthcare, and everybody gets free healthcare where we live, and it's like, bro, you don't have to spend on your military because we'll save you. That's why.
On top of us, in order to wield a more effective and more effective military enterprise. What we saw from the first offset, which was how do you use nuclear weapons?
Medicines. Yeah. Well, the thing with medical research is medical research. How do I explain it? It costs money to research drugs, but whenever we make a drug, other countries basically say you have to give it to us for a lower rate, otherwise we will fucking just copy it anyway. And so like the reason why America always creates a lot of new shit is because because of the system that we have. The kind of private healthcare system allows for more incentive to develop better drugs, and there's also corrupt incentives. Obviously, there's obviously a thing where and this is the unfortunate part of it, is that it's incentivized to kind of create solutions that don't actually solve the problem, but that's a completely different thing. But in terms of drugs, other countries can basically tell us to sell it to them for cheaper. And so what that leads to is a lot of Americans having to take the brunt of the cost of of the development of the drugs.
Overcome that. That was the first technology offset. Second one was stealth and precision-guided munitions. Secretary Carter, when he was trying to come up with the third offset, said the real advantage that we're going to have in the 21st century is decision advantage. How do you get better decisions faster than your adversary? That's what wins wars. The problem was in 2016, there were a lot of problems that we could look at for different types of technology, and AI was the one that he wanted to focus on, particularly for
Are they getting an AI shot caller? Military AI shot caller? Oh my goodness.
And so
beep boop in-game leaders.
The algorithmic warfare cross-functional team was established to basically say, get AI in the hands of the warfighter, focusing on UAV PED. What do I mean by that? What's happening for our airborne surveillance assets so that humans don't have to stare at screens? They get lazy, they get tired, they get distracted, they miss things. And so what we ran into was, let's use AI to try and tip and cue the right systems so that humans didn't just have to stare at a screen 16 hours a day and get tired. So with that, this is where we started. And the hypothesis was, if we got AI in the hands of the warfighter, it would work. We developed some of the best computer vision models possible. They were built on our data, deployed on our systems, everywhere in the world that we could possibly,
Dude, did they just turn the game from an FPS into an RTS? Holy shit.
We were integrated. You could detect cars and people. That was our primary challenges back in the global war on terror days. And so we actually fielded these systems quite robustly across the entire landscape. But the problem wasn't ISR PED per se. That was one problem. The bigger problem was the fact that our processes were not set up and our technology was not set up to use data-centric techniques in order to make better decisions faster. That just solved the problem of one individual in the entire chain. The real problem we were trying to solve was this. This is an image from a theater operations center in Scarlet Dragon. Scarlet Dragon is an exercise that Project Maven ran with the 18th Airborne Corps. And what you can see there is a bunch of static pictures, whiteboards. Don't be distracted by the screen. That doesn't have any automated things on it. That's just PowerPoint slides. We literally were trying to push AI detections into workflows that humans were limiting on our outputs and our outcomes that we were trying to achieve. And so we rejected the hypothesis that getting the AI in the hands of the warfighter was the right answer. What we really needed to do was take 3 steps back and say, the real issue isn't AI, the real issue is workflow. How are we making decisions? And that's when we came up with what I call the decision-centric approach.
That's actually a lot of things. Workflow is everything. Like for so many, even for like working with AI itself, workflow is really a huge part of like productivity.
The decision-centric approach,
making the right decisions.
I came up with 9 questions. There are other approaches out there. This is my easy one, mainly because DARPA has their 9 questions. I felt like I should have my 9. So when you're thinking about trying to improve decision-making processes, you always have to start with the decision. You also have to look at how the decision's made today. What part of the process are you accelerating? What data is required to make the decision? How is the data going to arrive? How will the user interact with the data? What's the reduction in human input? How are you measuring success? And what's your iteration plan?
It's like move it up to like 6.
By looking at these,
here's
it's
like
pretty
the
straightforward.
big dick shit right here.
So that you're delivering technology at the right phase in their process, and they're giving you the mutual, synergistic improvements in how we approach things. It's not just the technology, it's also the process. The process is clear. That's what we need to be focusing on. And what we found when we looked at the AI into different types of workflows is that the system was wrong. This is Maven Smart System, Palantir's software as a service product that we are deploying across the entire department. As you can see, it's not just one data feed, it's multiple. And instead of having 8 or 9 systems for those decision makers to look at every single day in order for them to make decisions, you then fuse it into a single visualization tool. The single visualization tool allows you to select, deselect different types of data, look at different approaches to data, but more importantly, action from the same system that you're trying to develop your workflows around. Once you have a detection that you want to actually move into
Dude, they're gonna have like the top fucking RTS players. It's good, dude. We need to abduct some Koreans. Hear me out. we gotta abduct some Koreans. All right, guys. We need to put them in a box with like just this system. You know what I mean? Like,
marketing workflow, for example.
We need the Koreans with the best micro. That's what we need.
This is what we do. Left click, right click, left click. Magically, it becomes a detection. That detection then gets moved.
Yeah, we gotta get faker. Yeah, exactly.
A workflow. This is standard digitized workflow, but I want to walk you through it quickly. You have different types of targets that are identified on the left there. Every single column produces a different type of decision-making process. Once you have that decision and you're trying to actually action that process, we now move into COA generation, course of action generation, where we are automatically, via a number of factors, trying to identify what the best asset to prosecute a target looks like. Once we've got the different approaches and we select one, we then can move directly into how do we action that target. So we've gone from identifying the target to now coming up with a course of action to now actioning that target, all from one system. This is revolutionary. We were having this done in about 8 or 9 systems where humans were literally moving detections left and right in order to get to our desired end state, in this case, actually closing a kill chain. When we started this, it literally took hours to do what you just saw there. And through a number of different deployments, we've been able to reduce that time significantly.
Dude, so like they could decide like, yo, should we bomb this dude? And then the AI is like calculating all of the, like where everything is and how long it would take. And it's like, yes. And you go like, press the button and you just tell the AI, I was like, all right, well, let me take a nap. And then fires the missiles. And then it just shoots the missiles for you. You just press like, yes. That's crazy, man. America.